Welcome to the Dan Casper Show podcast, your chance to catch the full show anytime, anywhere. If you missed it live on the radio, no worries. We've got you covered with all the sports talk, opinions, interviews, and conversations from the show. From the Packers to the Brewers to the biggest stories in sports and around Wisconsin, it's all right here. This is the Dan Casper Show podcast. All right, halftime is over with, and we are on to the third quarter on this Monday morning. Thanks for hanging out with us. Hopefully you had a fantastic weekend, and you're ready to power through a Monday morning here. Whether you're listening on the radio dials of 105.1 FM, 790 AM, maybe online at sportstalk1051.com, maybe the app, maybe your Alexa devices, or maybe tuning into the video stream. However you are tuning in, we appreciate it. Don't forget you can join in on the convo, 715-830-1912, also on that Section 105 chat on the YouTube page. Coming up in about an hour, we'll put a bow on the Eau Claire Express season. Owner Craig Keisean will join us, so we'll talk a little Eau Claire Express. Speaking of some local baseball, again, another big-time shout-out to Whitehall and Tilden, WBA state champions, picking up those state championships yesterday. So congrats, Tilden taking down River Falls, Whitehall taking down Abbotsford. So big time shout out to those CRBL teams. Off day today for the Brew Crew, but a fantastic weekend. If you had to use one word or a phrase to quickly describe this Brewers team from what you saw this past weekend, what is that word? What is that phrase? My best ones I'll read up on the air. Let me know. Let me know. We talked a little Packers, too, especially Keisean Nixon's comments in the locker room saying he's being punished. Maybe he's being punished because he's getting reps with the twos, sometimes even with the threes, still getting reps with the ones. Tucker Kraft, for the first time yesterday, practicing in team drills, so continues to progress and hopefully be ready for week one against the Vikings. Speaking of the Packers, just happy accident found this. And I'm one of those, we're focusing on 2026, but once in a while I just kind of I get sucked into these pieces. So earlier this morning, ESPN dropped an article, NFL Future Power Rankings, 2027 to 2029 projections for 32 teams. Says in their annual Future Power Rankings, we're not focused on the outcome of this season. Instead, we're ranking all 32 teams by who is primed to be among the league's best from the 2027 season through the 2029 seasons. To do so, we asked our panel of experts to rate each team's quarterback situation, remaining non-quarterback roster makeup, front office, and coaching staff. After averaging the results from the panelists, each of the four categories was weighted to create the overall score. Quarterback, 20%, roster, 30%, front office, 25%, coaching, 25%. The result is a comprehensive ranking based on how well each team is positioned for the future. Our experts then picked out reasons for optimism, reasons to worry, crucial stats, nuggets to know, and bold predictions for all 32 franchises over this 3-year span. Where did Green Bay rank? Well, let's go through the list. Number 1, Seattle. Number 2, Philly. Number 3, the Detroit Lions. Number 4, Denver Broncos. Number 5, the Rams. Number 6, the Patriots. And number 7 would be your Green Bay Packers. They ranked 7th in overall roster, excluding the quarterback. They ranked 7th in quarterback. They ranked 7th in front office. And they ranked 11th in coaching. Reason for hope? Green Bay's yearly investment in young starters always leaves the Packers well-positioned for the future. Jordan Love is emerging into a Tier 2 quarterback, and Love's pass catchers look as dangerous as ever. With a couple of hits on young offensive linemen, Green Bay's passing attack should once again be one of the league's most potent. Reason for concern. Remain concerned about the dependability and availability of those that Love depends on, namely the wide receiver group. But the real elephant in the room is the availability of Micah Parsons. What level of play will he return to after his ACL tear? Green Bay has nobody on the roster who comes close to matching his physical profile. How many other teams would have somebody close with their top pass rusher would be out? But anyways, nugget to know. For the second straight season, the Packers were the youngest team in the NFL by snap-weighted age in 2025. They ranked 30th on offense, 31st on defense, and 29th on special teams. Bold prediction for 27 through 29. Parsons will break Myles Garrett's single-season sack record. He has never exceeded 14 sacks in a season, but since he entered the league in 2021, he has a 29% career pass rush win rate, much higher than the second-best player, Myles Garrett, at 24.9%. If Garrett can record 23 sacks on the Browns, Parsons can exceed that on a better team in the Packers. To round out the top 10, Houston, Baltimore, Chargers. In case you're wondering, the Bears were 12th. And the Vikings show up on this list at 18. Their highest ranking was coaching at 4. So, all right, if you had to play a little futures bet, if you had to do that based off this, do you like the future? You think Green Bay's set up for a pretty darn good future for the next couple of years? That window, right? It's the window. The window is now. You look at 2027 through 2029, the window is now. Micah, Jordan Love, the younger pass catchers, Tucker Kraft, Golden, Watson's locked up, Jaden Reed's locked up, et cetera, blah, 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 blah. Of course, makes sense. Evan Williams rising. Edrin Cooper rising. You signed Devontae Wyatt. You better be a top 10 team in the futures bet. You're locking up some of those guys. The window is now. It is now. I think that's fairly accurate where they're ranked. Maybe, and what did they say for Detroit? Because I'm still a little like, why Detroit? Do I have it up here? No, I must have closed it out. Detroit's still pretty darn high on there, too. But, no, I think that's about right. So, speaking of Packers and all that fun jazz, Tucker Kraft, 2 big things from camp yesterday, according to reports. 2 big things. 1, Tucker Kraft returning to 11 on 11. Awesome. Great. First time he's participated in team drills and training camp. Sure looks like he's progressing towards being available week 1 for the Packers. Awesome. The other thing, Keisean Nixon, not guaranteed a job. And he made some comments in the locker room. I want to put these 2 comments, I want to put 2 quotes side by side here. Nixon and Tucker Kraft, okay? You got Tucker Kraft, who's coming back from an ACL injury, is due for a big contract. He could easily be sitting out. A lot of players would be sitting out until they get that big contract in security. Tucker Kraft's not. We know Keisean Nixon has been vocal about wanting a new contract. I'm going to give you 2. I'm going to go through these quotes from both of these players. And you're going to see a fairly big difference in the approach that I think both of these players have. Okay? Let's start with Keisean Nixon. Okay? So, Keisean Nixon saying yesterday that, here we go. Okay, so Keisean Nixon saying yesterday, I guess I'm being punished right now. I guess I don't know. I don't really worry about what I'm running in camp, ones or twos. I just keep my process and just compete for real. I don't view myself in no competition. I've come here to compete for myself. What they do and who they choose, that's out of my control. I can only control what I can control. I came from the bottom, so I'm here. Year 8 since I've been here, I ain't been off the field. And nothing they've asked me to do, I played at a high level. Whether it was getting accolades or anything, however it came, I showed up. So I always show up. They ain't really told me anything. Every day I find out a different thing, and I just attack it. I don't care what it is, whether it's me taking reps on special teams, whatever it is, I attack it, though. I'm here. Can't really run me off, so I'm ready to play ball. Tucker Kraft, meanwhile, who, again, coming off ACL, is going to get a new contract and is going to be paid easily top 5 tight end in the league. He could be sitting out to get that security, especially since he's coming off of an ACL. So why is he practicing? He was asked if he considered not participating until he had a new deal, and he said, never crossed my mind. I'll always put it back on the team. Every one of these guys comes in here to work. This is a violent sport, and we risk life and limb. Guys have to medically retire from this blank. Can't say that word. They're banging heads. They've got messed up necks, backs. How many times can you blow a knee out? Guys keep fighting and clawing to come back into this locker room, and that's the reason I do it. I want to leave a legacy on this sport as a whole. I want my children to see the lengths I would go to fight for something I love, and I think I have it right here in Green Bay, or he said the G. Couple of different approaches, right? Couple different mindsets. And here's the thing. Keisean Nixon, yes, last year he led the league with 15 pass breakups. Great. But you know what? He also led the league, led all defensive backs in penalties. There's been questions about tackling, maybe giving up on some plays. Matt LaFleur saying yesterday about the cornerback group, we want to see, obviously, it starts by doing your right assignment, and then it comes down to your style of play. How are you competing, going after the ball, not only in the pass game, but in the run game as well? Are you sticking your nose in there? We need corners that are willing and capable tacklers. Keisean, after a couple years ago when he said he wanted to focus on being cornerback and not necessarily special teams, after he won All-Pro, he got a contract because of his return ability. Let's not kid ourselves. He got a contract extension because of his return ability. So now I want to focus on defense. So the Packers gave him that opportunity. But just because you may be listed as after last year, kind of talked about wanting a new contract. Just because you may be listed number 1 on the depth chart does not mean you are a number 1 corner. It doesn't. It shouldn't. To me, a number 1 corner is a shutdown corner, a guy that you're comfortable leaving on the island, a guy that you're comfortable lining up against Justin Jefferson twice a year, Amon St. Brown twice a year, Rome Odunze twice a year. Like, okay, we're good. Do you feel that way with Nixon? No, I don't. I don't think a lot of people do. It's been very inconsistent with Nixon being a top corner on this team. Now, he'll probably be a top 2 corner for Green Bay, at least to open up the season, or top 3 corner because of the depth. If it were me, I'd kind of want to see a little bit more of Benjamin St-Juste with Brandon Cisse. See what you got there. But okay, Nixon, use this. Use this as motivation. Don't pout. Don't go out there and saying, I guess I'm being punished. Go out there and ball out. If you're mad, take it out on the field. Go out there and lock it down. Shut it down. Help out your ball club. Be a leader in this group. Rise up. Stand up to the challenge. Tucker Kraft, I think a big part a couple years ago, after the season was over with, and he had that press conference and kind of called out his team. He's like, I think we got to wake up. And he put it on himself to be more of a leader. I think this is part of it. He wants to be a leader of this ball club. He could easily be sitting out. He could be easily sitting there. I want a contract. I want this. I want that. I want that. I want that. He put it on himself a couple years ago to be a team leader. And I think him being out on that practice field, coming back, pushing to be out there week one without that security is just showcasing himself at being a leader of this group. Talk is cheap. Actions speak louder than words. The actions of Tucker Kraft right now, I think, darn well know that locker room notices it and pays attention to it. You know it. And I think you're seeing the difference in those two in terms of leadership capabilities or leadership abilities. All right, we got to take a quick break. We went a little long. We'll talk some more Brewers after a great weekend for the Brew Crew. If you had a word or a phrase to use to describe the Brewers from this past season, or from this past weekend, excuse me, how would you describe this past weekend for the Brew Crew? It was an interesting one, wasn't it? That lineup sometimes out there, like, what are we doing? They got her done, taking 3 out of 4. All right, let's take a quick break. Back with more coming up after these quick words. If you're from Wisconsin, you know there is something special about this time of year. The days getting a little shorter, the evenings, they're starting to cool off, and before you know it, hunting season will be right here. That means now is the time to get your gear ready. Whether you need a new firearm, ammunition, optics, or just some expert advice, Tilden Gun is your first stop. The folks at Tilden Gun aren't just there to sell you equipment. They're hunters, too. They know what works. They're happy to answer your questions, and they'll help make sure that you are ready long before opening morning arrives. So don't wait until the last minute. Stop by at Tilden Gun, get geared up, and start counting down the days to another great Wisconsin fall. Tilden Gun, helping Wisconsin hunters make the most of every season. Happy hunting and good luck this fall. And don't forget, coming up, hour and a half, some of those units, those antlerless tags, they're going to be on sale. All right, I got my alarm set on my phone, so don't forget that's this week, and it starts today, depending on what unit you are into. So go to the DNR's website and double check. Make sure you remember your unit. So Brewers yesterday, this weekend, taking 3 out of 4 against the Dodgers. How would you describe this weekend, this past weekend, for the Brew Crew? When you take a look at that, factoring in injuries, no Terang, right? Yelly out of the lineup. I mean, Contreras batting DH yesterday. One game you had Vaughn playing third, Bowers in right, Gary Sanchez at first. Just kind of a hodgepodge put together a lineup. And they got the job done. They got the job done. And you look at the pitching, fantastic. You go to Jacob Mizorowski. Mizorowski just doing Mizorowski things in his win on Saturday. 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 6 Ks. A big moment in that game, though. Bases loaded, 1 out, and up steps Ohtani and Freeman. What does the Miz do? He strikes out Ohtani, and he strikes out Freeman. Rising to the moment, rising to that challenge. And then you get home runs from Ortiz and Contreras in that game. Boom, you're good to go. And then yesterday's game against Skubal, against Logan Henderson, the narrative game, the narrative matchup, or whatever they were calling it because of the whole, trade rumor stuff. And Skubal didn't pitch bad. It's just that Brewers did a good job racking up the pitch count against him. I mean, when you look at it, excuse me, technically Skubal got the loss. I mean, he went 6 innings, but he gave up 7 hits, issued a couple walks, 1 earned run, 2 runs total, did strike out 7. But he also threw 109 pitches in 6 innings compared to Henderson in 7 innings, the furthest he's gone in his career, 93. Logan Henderson, 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, struck out K. The solo shy is what he gave up. May downplay it. We talked a little bit about it last week. We're all human, and anybody who has played a competitive sport, I don't care at what level, there was probably a little bit extra juice for Henderson in this game, going up against the Dodgers. Not just going up against the Dodgers, but also going up against Skubal. Like, okay, I'm going to prove to my team, I'm going to prove to a lot of people why the Brewers didn't want to give me up or why I'm going to be a really good pitcher for a long time. That was a moment game yesterday for Logan Henderson. That was a stepping stone game. That was like, I am here type of game. And this year, 7-2 with a 2.70 ERA. This is a kid. Remember, I mean, he's a career 10-2 guy. He didn't pitch a ton last year, even though a lot of fans wanted to see him last year. Brewers were patient with him. And now it's like, geez. This is from ESPN Insights about Logan Henderson here. Logan Henderson threw 7 innings of 1-run balls Sunday to beat the Dodgers. It was his 17th consecutive start, allowing 3 runs or fewer to start his career. The 3rd longest streak since 1893. Only Zach Allen, 23, and Drew Rasmussen, 19, had longer streaks, excluding openers. Logan Henderson has only started 17 games in his career. And look at what he is doing so far. You want to talk about kind of like keep making sure dudes are fresh, pitching-wise. Logan Henderson so far this year has only pitched 63 third innings. 12 games. 63 and a third innings. Compared to a Skubal, who has pitched in 19 games with 113 and 2/3 innings. I'm not saying Logan Henderson's going to be better than Skubal or whatever, but I will say I got to give him props. My little guy threw out a very tough question. And I think I'm going to throw it out to you guys and gals. Hudson asked me this the other day, and I'm like, dang, that's a good question. Do you think Kyle Harrison, how did he phrase it? Something about Kyle Harrison, would you rather have Kyle Harrison maybe for the future? Have him for the future for the next few years, or a Turek Skubal now? Or how do you say it? It's like, will Kyle Harrison be better? This is how we phrase it. Will Kyle Harrison, he used Kyle Harrison for an example. We could use Logan Henderson for this too if we wanted. Harrison/Henderson, whoever you want to choose. Will they be better in the next few years, than what Tarek Skubal is now? That's what he asked. I was like, dang. That's an interesting question. Right now, it's hard not to be excited about what we're seeing from Logan Henderson, though, isn't it? Jacob Mizorowski, these dudes, what they're doing. I have full confidence that Kyle Harrison is going to bounce back from his previous start. I think we're there, and I am excited to see Dustin May continue to roll. If this Brewers team can just start to get these guys back, which sounds like we're going to get Terang back for the series. It sounds like Frelick's going to be possibly back this week. Cooper Pratt, the initial thought was by the end of the month, guys are going to be coming back. And I think the Brewers are doing the right thing by doing this 6-man rotation to try to keep everybody as healthy, preserved for a hopefully long and deep postseason run as possible. You know, Mizorowski, 23 games he's pitched so far this year, 139 innings pitched. Last year he set, when you counted his AAA numbers, he set numbers. Like regular season last year, remember, Miz pitched in 15 games. He started 14 of those. He only pitched 66 innings. 23 games this year, 139 innings. I think they keep going with this 6-man until they get to that postseason. All right, we got to take a quick break. Back with plenty more, though, coming up in just a few minutes. When you're looking for your next vehicle, choose a dealership that knows and cares about the community it serves. Toyson Ford in Chippewa Falls is proud to be locally owned and operated, providing hometown service and a better buying experience for drivers throughout the Chippewa Valley. Whether you're looking for a new Ford, a quality pre-owned vehicle, or trusted service for the vehicle that you already own, the team at Toyson Ford is there to help. Experience the difference of shopping local. Toyson Ford in Chippewa Falls, your hometown Ford dealer. Coming up just past 9 o'clock, we'll catch up with Craig Toyson, owner of the Eau Claire Express, as we wrap up the Eau Claire Express season. A game short of going to the Northwoods League Championship, but nonetheless still a fantastic, awesome, fun, exciting series for the Express. So we'll catch up with Craig and wrap up this very successful Express season. I know we've mentioned it a few times, but again, a shout-out, speaking of some local baseball, Whitehall Whitetails, Tilden Tigers, state champions, WBA, Wisconsin Baseball Association this past weekend. So shout-out to those two CRBL teams, Tilden taking down River Falls and Whitehall taking down Abbotsford. So then later this week, we've got high school football starting up. Man, you believe it? Holy moly. But I know we had some scrimmages, which Brandon talked about on Friday. Yeah, well, getting ready for that season. So the Brewers, as we are now fully into the final quarter of the regular season, if you want to go by mathematics, they're 77% of the way done with their regular season. Besides health and besides wins, what are some of the things that maybe you want to see or you've got your eyes on paying a little bit more attention to? Maybe something that's got to be better. Like what are you really going to be kind of looking at again, besides wins, because we want as many wins as possible, besides health, because everybody wants them to be healthy. You know, I want to see Christian Yelich. I want to see Christian Yelich get back on track, get better. And I think that's something to follow in these final few games. Is it like 37 games left? But the other part in that is going to be, how many more opportunities are the Brewers going to give Yelich? He's going to continue to get some bats, but at what rate? At what pace? How many more chances will they give him? I want to see Christian Yelich start to produce consistently at the plate. Once it becomes playoffs, it's all hands on deck at that point. Once it becomes the playoffs, you have got to play your best player, the hot hand. If Yelich continues to struggle and he's hitting in the hundreds, but you got guys that, let's say, all right, Vaughn, Bowers, but say Frelick comes up and Frelick starts to produce a little bit more at the plate. Vaughn is still hitting over 300. Bowers is doing his thing. I'm sorry, but I got to go with the hot hand and maybe like Bowers Vaughn has to get the DH and, the others at first, and you keep Frelick in the outfield. I mean, you've got to ride the hot hand when it comes to the postseason, regardless of who you are. I want Christian Yelich to succeed. I want Christian Yelich to perform at a high level, and I hope he does in this final month and a half. Brewers need it. They need all hands on deck when it comes to the postseason. But to me, looking at this final stretch here, this final quarter, that's something they're going to have to watch, pay attention to. Same thing with a Garrett Mitchell. It looks like, now we'll see, but it looks like maybe Contreras got back on track a little bit this past weekend, which is good to see because they definitely need that from him too. But I'm really looking at Yelich for this final quarter to see, okay, can he get on track? But also, how patient are the Brewers going to be with him? He is very valuable to this team. Leadership, guys in that clubhouse, they look at him as the leader. There's no doubt about that. But if he's not producing at the plate, if he's not getting the job done, can you afford to keep him in there? Sounds like Terang, though, will be back for this series. So hopefully that and that's going to be another thing, too. I know I said not to, because health is always going to be a thing, but it would be curious to see how much that knee injury affects Terang, if it affects him at all. Something that's going to linger, because it sounds like it's been something that he's been dealing with here for a while. But you just kind of hope that it's not going to be something that's going to affect him too much for the rest of the season, kind of like how Contreras' finger was affecting him last year. But, I mean, if you look at Terang's offensive numbers, you're probably saying, where did it affect him? Because his last 30 at-bats, 300. Now his home run numbers are down because in his last 62 at-bats, he only had one home run and still hitting 290. But maybe it kind of affects him on the base paths a little bit, stolen bases. I know there's some talk that he hit 2020. He's sitting at 16 home runs and 16 stolen bases, but I don't know. That knee injury maybe affects it a little bit here. And I just want to see, too, to throw out another one, what does Joey Ortiz continue to do? What does he continue to do in these final 37-odd games, final quarter, final month and a half? I mean, right now he is up to a 243 average. May not be much, but considering where it started and considering where he was at last year, do you take that? I take it. His last 30 games, 89 plate appearances, 326, slugging 573. Is he going to continue to be a reliable dude at the plate? Because I think we have the confidence. Terang was hitting well before he went out, but we have confidence he's still going to be a baller. We got confidence that Chiriot is going to be a baller. We got confidence that Contreras is going to turn it around. Ortiz all of a sudden gets going. Bowers continues his thing. Andrew Vaughn's quietly having a solid offensive season. Not power-wise, but he's hitting 300. Let's go then. All right, final break as we close out the third hour. How would you describe this past weekend for the Brewers? I think the word I would use is gritty. That's the word I have to go with, gritty. Putting together a lineup that you're just, you're like trying to fill in holes, trying to get something going offensively. I mean, there's probably sometimes, I don't know how many, I think a lot of you are probably like me during the weekend, but you're like, oh, that lineup, that's an interesting one. Like Saturday's lineup, Vaughn at third, Bowers in right field, Sanchez playing first. Contreras is obviously catching. It's like, oh, okay. Hey, Mizorowski's on the mound. And I think that does factor into it a little bit. It's like, okay, we got the Miz on the mound. Are we sacrificing a little bit on the defensive side? Yeah, probably. But Jacob Mizorowski's on the mound, and he's going to mow through this lineup. That probably factored in a little bit. When you got guys out there, when you got your starting pitchers out there that can hold their own, it probably allows Pat Murphy and a lot of teams to be maybe a little bit more creative or a little bit more flexible or take some risks with the lineup. I mean, even yesterday's lineup was like, okay, Contreras leading it off? Okay. But, again, you had Logan Henderson on the mound. You're just trying to maybe get some runs right away and get him some early run support. Same with Miz. And then you can do those subs later on in the game for defensive assignments. All right, we got to take a quick break. We'll be back to wrap up the third hour. Coming up after these few words. Happens every year. 1 minute you're maybe outside doing some backyard grilling or heading to the lake or watching the kiddos at some ball tournaments, and the next thing you know, you're shopping for school supplies and wondering, where the heck did summer go? Hey, before the backpacks come out and the busy fall schedule starts to take over, now is that perfect time to freshen up your home with some new flooring from Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. Whether it's soft new carpet for the family room, durable luxury vinyl planks for the entire home, the team at Carpet City Flooring Center will help you find the perfect floor for your family and your budget. They're locally owned. They know Wisconsin homes, and they're committed to making the process easy from start to finish. Make the most of these last weeks of summer. Stop on in to Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire today, because home is where Wisconsin families make their best memories. All right, just past the top of the hour here, we'll chat with Mr. Craig Keisean, owner of the Eau Claire Express, wrap up the Eau Claire Express season, a very successful Eau Claire Express season. So we'll get to Craig coming up here in just a bit. Also coming up in the next hour, the final hour. Last call for any VFW Post 305 best and worst from the weekend. What was the best? What was the worst for you, in your opinion? You can hit us up on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line at 715-830-1912, or you can hit us up in the Section 105 chat, too. So, but then we got to do a little MM Chat GPT, Monday morning Chat GPT. You've heard of Monday morning quarterbacking. Well, we're going to put Chat GPT to the test for a little Monday morning quarterbacking. So we got that also coming up in the final hour. We'll get back to some more Brewers talk as well. Off day today for the Brewers, but continue to send me what's something you're going to be watching in this final quarter of the regular season? Besides health, besides the W's, is there a certain player where you're like, okay, this dude, who's the dude that's got to step up, or who's the dude that's got to continue to play at a high level? Who is the key player? What's one of the most pivotal things for this team, maybe to wrap up this regular season with the top spot and maybe, get some momentum into the postseason? That's the other thing, too. Let's ride some momentum into the postseason. Let's finish this last 37 games, this last month and a half, where we ride that momentum into the postseason. That's what I want to see, too. But if there was a player or anything like that where you're just like, okay, this has got to be the guy that's got to be a key part to this overall success for the team, who is that? I mean, Yelly's on there for me for sure. Joey Ortiz continuing to produce at the plate. Yeah. We'll get back to some Packers talk too. It's just walkthrough day today for Packers practice. Kind of a fun thing. So, again, reminder, no program tomorrow because at this point in time, right now, I will be in the Packers media room getting set for Goody's press conference and then Matt LaFleur afterwards. So, I got to think of some questions. If you have an idea or a thought or a question that I should ask one of them, being professional with it too, guys, okay? You got to be professional with it. Can't just, be goofy in that. Hey, if you got an idea, send it on over, okay? Be professional with it. I want to be invited back. So you can text those on over if you want, 715-830-1912. But then Wednesday we'll be doing the program from Green Bay Wednesday morning. So, but just throwing it out there in case you tune in to the dials tomorrow morning. I won't have a program because literally right now at this very minute, 24 hours, I'll be sitting in the Packers meeting room because Goody's presser is at 9 o'clock tomorrow. So, but we'll get back to some more Packers chat here with the whole Nixon conversation and Tucker Kraft returning to team drills yesterday. So, I know a lot of you have chimed in saying we need more Tucker Krafts, more players like Tucker Kraft in the locker room, and less Keisean Nixons. So, but we'll hit that back up coming up in the next hour too, the happy hour of the program. So, and hey, whatever else is on your mind, if there's a topic, segment, question that we like, I think it's a good one. If you want to throw it on over for consideration, please do so. All right, send them on over. Easiest, quickest way is that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line. 715-830-1912. Or you can hang out with the group that's in the Section 105 chats and talk a little bit over there too. So Matt said a little bit earlier, I'm going to take credit. I said on Wednesday, optimistically, if we take 3 out of 4 from the Dodgers, we will be in a good place. So, man, take the credit, man. You did call it. I remember you called it. So, nice work. Now let's continue to build off that, right? Let's finish this thing strong. Let's finish this regular season strong. Get into that postseason with some gosh darn momentum. All right, shot clock's going to cut me off. We got some news updates, and then we'll kick off the final hour on this Monday morning right after these quick words.